Turn my ringer off here. Okay guys, so we did a podcast and we did a 2023 gear dump. We talked about what we used in 2023, what we liked, what we didn't like. I figured I'd come on here and talk about my 2023 day pack, what I use for my day hunts. I'll use these maybe for an overnight hunt as well. Weekend hunts if I'm hunting out of like a trailer or a truck, which I did a lot of this year. This year I didn't do any 5 to 7, 10-day hunts. When I do those, they're obviously a little different, and I think what I'll do on another video is I'll go through what I typically take on like a 5 to 7 day elk hunt. So this year and last year I was running the Mystery Ranch Pintler pack. This is a good pack. The only thing I have to say I don't like about Mystery Ranch is the narrow straps on them. They are fairly narrow compared to other brands of bags, and they really dig into my hip. This one here is the Marshall. I've used this on like a 5-day trip, 7-day trip. I'll do a review of exactly what I take on those type of trips on another video. But for today, I'm just going to go over what's in my day pack. So, like I said, this is the Mystery Ranch Pintler pack. It's a good pack. I like the fact that you don't have to have an external cover for it. I think those are kind of silly. We'll start off the side here. What I always have in my pack is a fixed blade. I like to have it on my hip. Anything happens, I have it. It's easy accessible. I do have interchangeable blade, outdoor edge in my bag. I prefer to use the fixed blade just because those blades are expensive, and if you're cutting through an elk or like I took down a buffalo this year, you really go through a lot of those blades. With a fixed blade, you can just sharpen it. I use a Scotty sharpener. Really good. This one is, I've had this one here, it's a Gerber. I've had this thing for like 10 years. Bright orange. Those of you who listen to the show, you know I lose a lot of things in the bush, so the brighter the color, when I put them down, it's easy to find. For a water bottle holder, I have just this little accessory from Mystery Ranch. You can see it there. You know, just an Nalgene bottle. This one I used all year. Only thing I don't like about these bottles, and I think I'm going to switch it up to an insulated one next year, is it's nice when you're hunting in September on those hot days to have some cool water, and it's also nice in the cooler months, you know, November, that your water doesn't freeze. So, you know, this is nothing special. Hydro flask, it's not a Yeti. I paid 20 bucks for this thing on sale. So I think next year I'm going to switch over to aluminum semi-insulated one. Going over to the other side, what I like to have is a pocket or a pouch. This I have fastened into my belt. This is empty right now, but I really like to have a pouch there for quick access to reeds, wind checkers. If it's getting late at night, I put my headlamp in there. Really handy to have. Never leave home without an inReach. Even if I'm going to check trail cameras, I always bring an inReach with me. This is the Garmin. This is the 66i. This one's really good. Inside this little pouch as well, I keep a predator call. You never know when you're going to spot a black bear off in the distance, and with 2 tags like you can carry here in British Columbia, it's nice to, you know, if you're not seeing anything else, to still come home with some meat if you get the opportunity. Moving on to the side. Side pouch, I always have my walking sticks. The last couple years I've been using these Peaks. These are sissy sticks. These things are workhorses, man. I've put these things through the ringer and they're still good. Yeah, can't say enough about these. These are great. Selfie stick. Probably could all do without that, but you know, Instagram. Going over to the other side. Very rarely do I ever not take a tripod with me on hunts. I think You know, maybe if I'm hunting in the wintertime, hunting like cougars, bobcats, lynx, or if I'm late season whitetail deer hunting, I won't take this. But every other month, April, May, June, hunting bears, September, October, November, I always carry a tripod. This is a Siru. They got the VA5 head on it. I think I paid $350 for this off Amazon. I just checked this morning. Still available for the same price. I'll throw a link up where you can get this, but this thing has been awesome. Super light, really durable, and you know, for $350, I mean, these carbon tripods, they get up there in price. I mean, you can get tripods now that are $1,000, but I mean, $1,000. Top my pack, I have my cup. It's on this pack. It fits nicely up at the top here between the two top straps, and I just put a shackle on it just to hold it, just so if it does fall out, I don't lose it. But I love having a coffee cup, drinking water, making soup, tea, coffee. It's great to have. One thing I like about this pack is how easy it is to get into. Go down the bottom here. One thing I always carry on my pack, usually on the bottom of my pack, so it's out of the way. If I don't use it, I don't have to worry about it, is some sort of glassing pad. Now what I like is this is just accordion style foamy. You can get this for cheap at like Canadian Tire or Target. I cut mine into like about a 3-foot section and cut it in about a foot. You can double it up for glassing somehow, yeah, or you can kneel on it when you're breaking down an animal if you want to. You know, it's just great. It's good to have. It's cheap. If you lose it or wear it out, it's not that big of a deal. You just cut some more. It comes in like, I think, 6 or 7 foot lengths. So like I was saying, this pack, it's nice because it opens right up. So this year, I got here some gaiters. So this year I was using 2 different types of gaiters. I used early in the season, Alex from APE, he made me these. These are a custom set of APE gaiters. Really like these, really durable, really light, quiet, extremely quiet. On these I really like how they strap at the top. Really awesome, great set. So if you're looking for a good set of gaiters, check out APE. I also use Peaks. I've been using these, I think this is my 3rd year with these. Really extremely durable. The only thing I don't like about these is how hard it is to get that little top strap off. Normally I have a lot less fingernails than I do. They get worn out for my job, but these are really good. I put these through the ringer. Obviously hunting in BC, we see some pretty nasty stuff. Really extremely durable. Peaks. My bino harness. I kind of switch between bino harnesses. I'll either use a harness style or I'll use a strap, depending on the season and where I'm hunting. We'll get into that a little later. There's the other gaiter. Spotting scope. Again, I always carry a spotting scope with me unless I'm hunting in the late months, like December, January, February, March. Other than that, I always carry a spotter. This is the Vortex Razor. This is the 80 mil, really good spotter. Obviously not the best in the business, but dollar wise I think it's good, and they do have a great warranty. Rain gear. Rain gear's a must, especially here in British Columbia. This year I used the Under Armour gear. Really liked it. I think I'll get into more, do another video on just my gear, what I used all year. But you know, I used this rain gear recently when I was hunting fallow deer at the beginning of January, and it poured down rain. This stuff was really good. It's got waterproof zippers. I'll get into more of the clothing gear. That's the top, bottom. I keep those in the side pockets of this pack. Really handy. Working down. So obviously what I like to do is anything that I'm going to use daily, I like to have accessible. So at the top pocket where it's really accessible, I got my toilet paper and my unscented hand wash. Obviously, you know, I use RV paper, but it breaks down a lot easier. I keep everything in a Ziploc bag. I'm a big fan of Ziploc bags. Number one, keep things dry. Two, keeps things organized in the bag. And three, with it being clear, you can actually see what you're looking for. You don't have to dump the whole thing out on the ground to find something. So these are probably one of my newest favorite additions to my pack. These are the Grakshaw boot dryers. These things are amazing. Again, when I was hunting deer at the beginning of the month, everything was wet, including my boots. These things in my boots, a few hours, completely dry. They're not a huge drain on your batteries. I even plugged this into my phone with a little adapter piece, and it worked. They worked really well. Again, I keep everything in my bag, keeps it dry, keeps, you know, the cord from getting tangled up on other things, but those are great. There'll be a link down in the description. Other side pocket, little utility saw. Always have one of these. I never used to carry a saw, but I mean, you know, for the last, I think, 5 or 6 years now, I always carry a little saw. I found this one. This is the Pocket Boy by Silky. It is extremely sharp. What I like about it is really small, and these little Pocket Boys are extremely tough and rugged. You can do a lot of these to these things, and you know, some of those cheaper ones, when you're sawing on them, the blade will flip up, it'll break that little plastic piece. These are all metal. These are really good. So suggest trying those. The other side, pair of gloves. I don't usually wear gloves. I'm not a big glove guy. I'd rather have little colder hands, put my hands in my pocket or whatever, but it's nice to have a set of gloves in your backpack at all times. You never know when you're going to need them. These are, I think these are the Stormbreaker or something by Sitka. I've had these for a while. They do the job. Good. Moving down the pack to the back now. So in my day pack, I don't carry a hydration bladder. Just don't feel the need for it. So in that pocket where that would normally go, my go-to game bags. These are Mike DeFeo's from Hutto. These are great. These are reusable. I've packed out many elk, bear, deer, buffalo, you name it with these. These specific ones I've already used. Nice thing about these are you can reuse them. Wash them, reuse them, clean them. Great to have. So moving down is my first aid pack. I'm not going to get into this. I'll do a separate video of what's in here, why I have it. In this specific pack, I keep everything the way it is, and I'll take this one first aid pack out and put it in my multi-day pack. You know, there's probably definitely things in here that I don't need for a day trip, but I don't like to have a bunch of different stuff laying around. I like to keep everything organized, so I just have everything bundled into one, and I just take this out, move it into the other one. So I'll do another video going over exactly what's in here, why I feel it's important. Big fan of paper maps still. I know Backroads maps, Onyx, all that stuff. They're great, but electronics, you never know, your battery goes dead, whatever. So I'm a big fan of paper maps. This is just a waterproof cover for my maps. I always have the region I'm hunting in here, and I keep that at the back of my pack. Don't even notice it. So one thing I really like about this pack is how easy it is to get to the pockets at the top, and they're big too. So again, as you can see, I really like to utilize plastic bags. Again, as you can tell, I can just pull this out, and if I'm looking for something particular, I can say, oh, it's in here. I don't have to dump the whole bag out, search through it, and if it's not in a bag, you're pulling all that stuff out, trying to find a lighter. This way you can just pull the bag out. It keeps it dry. You know, if you got lighters or something here you don't want to get wet. I just love them, and they're cheap too, right? So inside this bag, I've got some Thermacell fluid, which I always carry as my Thermacell. We'll go over that in a little bit. Being a bow hunter, lots of wind checker, can't have enough of that. Lighter, some coffee for those cold days or days you need to get woken up. Electrical tape, always handy to have. Ribbon for those days when you got to track an animal. Hockey tape, this stuff is pretty much good for anything. You get blisters, cuts, taping up fingers, elbows. Your backpack, you name it. Anybody who's played hockey will know how durable hockey tape is. And a little lighter. I got this thing, my wife actually got this for me off Amazon. It's a little windproof lighter, rechargeable, which I think, you know, we've talked about on the show. I'm gonna switch all my stuff over from battery to rechargeable this year, just because how efficient everything is getting. Moving into the very back pocket, I got some paracord or utility rope. I like carrying lots of this stuff. I can never have too much of this stuff. Again, you can pick this up anywhere, any hardware store, super cheap, doesn't have to be anything specific. Like I mentioned earlier, I do like to have an interchangeable blade knife in my pack. I have the Outdoor Edge. It's good to have these just in case, you know, you get down a big buck or big elk and you want to take the cape home. These are really good for skinning out the cape. Always carry a spoon, spork. This is Sea to Summit. I've had this for a long time. Haven't lost it yet, which is nice. Good to have for those days and you want to make a coffee or whatever. So, top pack, I have this little dry bag. It's good to have one of these. You never know when you're going to need to carry some water from a river or creek. Get it up, wash your animal out, wash your hands, you name it. A Scotty knife sharpener, me being an old fisherman, these are the way to go. This is my first aid, or sorry, not my first aid, my archery kit. Always take this wherever I go. I'm not going to open it up and get into it. I'll do that in another video as well. But inside of it, I got everything I need to fix my bow, work on my bow. If something breaks, de-loop, new peep sight, wax, you name it, it's in here. I also have a multi-tool in here. I think we'll go over that when I'm going over this pack. Which one I've got, which ones I've used, which ones I like. I think that's it. The only other thing I can think of, another blade. One thing I noticed that I don't have, oh I think it's in here actually, it's right here. So one thing I always like to carry, like I was saying, is little bags. These are just regular old Ziploc bags. You get them buy a box of them for $4. Love using these things. And I always also like to have some zap straps. Making a mess here. I like to have zap straps. What I do is I take a handful of zap straps, I tie one zap strap around it, pull it tight. Every time you take a couple out, you can tighten that up so these things aren't floating around everywhere. Again, I keep it in a bag, but these are good for whatever. If you got to strap something to your backpack, you know, tie something up or whatever. In BC, we have to keep proof of identification on the proof of sex, sorry, on the animal. So what I do is I take a plastic bag, I put it over top of the nut sack, then I zap strap it. Just helps keep that hair off the quarters and off the meat. So yeah, so anyway, like I said guys, I just wanted to break down what I'm using in my pack. A couple things I'm going to add that I didn't go over is in BC especially, I always carry bear spray. Being a bow hunter, I don't have a gun, but depending on my setup, I like to have my bear spray where it's accessible. If I'm wearing a harness like this, I'll strap it under here. Sometimes I don't wear this, I just use the binocular strap. I'll have this on my belt or I'll clip it to the strap of my pack. Most of the time I'll put it on my belt because if I take my strap down to stop and have something to eat, I still have my bear spray accessible. Also battery packs. Now depending on where I'm going and what I'm doing will determine what battery pack I take. I do like to carry one of these all the time. I don't keep them in my pack. When I get home, I've learned my lesson. I take them out. You know, make sure, you know, if they're a little bit damp and all and they stay in your pack. I do put these obviously in a Ziploc bag like everything else, but still if there's a little bit of moisture in there, they'll get wrecked. So I take them out, make sure they're charged, and I keep them out. But you know, for just a day pack, I'll just use something small, but you never know when you're gonna have to recharge something. Some of the times, you know, you accidentally leave stuff on. I've done that before, many times actually, and going to use something and it's dead. And especially if I'm switching to rechargeable headlamp and all that stuff, it is nice to have something to recharge them if you need to. Also, depending on the day, time of year, I'll carry a little stove. These things are great. Nowadays, I mean, you can get these pretty much anywhere. There's lots to choose from. This one I used last year and the year before is the GSI. This thing's pretty beat up, so I'm going to be replacing it with this one. I just picked this up. It was on sale, 70 bucks. This is the time of year to get this kind of stuff, guys. So go through your pack, figure out what you need. I'll kind of do a little gear review on this thing once I get into it. The only other thing I didn't talk about was my headlamp, because on my last trip I lost it. So I'm looking at a new headlamp. I was running the Phoenix the last couple of years, but what I don't like about that is it's really easy to hit that button and you go to use it and the battery's dead, which drove me nuts. So I'd love to hear what you guys are using, why you like it, what might work for me. So comment below, and yeah, stay tuned for the next one. Thanks.